welcome to my gym. This is Jeff Out Gilberts, and tonight I'm asking a question. Can you be a spiritual person and pursue financial success? Can you do that? Do they go together? And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing over 41 years now. It's been an awesome journey. And I started in this business full time 28 years ago, selling a junk truck to get started. Put $200 into my business. I've been full time ever since. So I just, all the naysayers out there and the boohoo people and that say that you cannot be a success in network marketing are wrong. So we're going to talk about some things tonight. Elena, good to see you. How are you? Forgot where you're from, but good to see you. You can say where you're from if you'd like. And we have John in Baltimore. I imagine it's pretty cold up there, right, John? George in New York City. I know it's cold there where you are. Good to see you. We still got a lot of snow here, man. Quite a lot. And Chatty, good to see you. Don't know where you're from, but nice to see you. And Alina says LA. She's from that foreign country. Hey, John, good to see you. Salt Lake City, I remember. I joke about LA because I've flown into there so many times when I have to catch a plane and also go somewhere else. And Howard, good to see you. And Shirley from Indonesia, good to see you. Evie from Arizona. And Eve from the Philippines, good morning. And Chatties, 70s here in the Texas. Oh man, you're cruel. You're cruel. 70s. Shirley, good to see you. I forget what part of Indonesia you're in. It's on the tip of my tongue. Gary in Manila, Philippines. How are you doing, Gary? I hope everything's going well there. I understand that you guys can move around in Manila. You're not too confined right now. And anyway, good to see you on the call. So, interesting, I was reading something today that Truth in Advertising put out, which there's no truth in advertising in that organization because they hate network marketing. They're a watchdog group. But the lady that runs that operation, hey Jerry, nice to see you. She actually went before Congress asking them to do something about it, about the cruel things that network marketing companies do to people that are never successful. And oh, she says Sumatra, Indonesia. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Nice to have you. Some of the cruel things that network marketing companies do to people who are never successful. The lady doesn't get it. She wants them to create laws where if you're not successful, you can sue a company. It's crazy. these politicians, some of these politicians and these left-wing nut jobs, that's what I call them, if they didn't have government jobs or government funding, I don't know how they'd survive. God knows how they ever got elected. I don't know how these people ever get in office. But anyway, but the thing is, if it's what she doesn't get, and I tell you, I'm looking forward to the day in the United States when these government agencies understand what we are and what we are not. Most important. And what we are, our in the company that I'm in, is a network marketing company. We're not direct sales. We're not going out selling shoes. We're not going door to door selling Christmas cards, which is what I used to do when I was a little kid. I used to go out and door knock in December, sell Christmas cards. Anyway, we don't do those things. We share a link, somebody joins, they buy product. They consume the product. I consume the product. You consume the product. We are consumers, not salespeople. Now, some countries, yes, they do sell product, like in some places in the Philippines. Retailing is very important. And there's good reasons for that. Because distribution is not so perfect. And that's true in South America as well. But predominantly in North America and Europe, it's not that way at all. People share a link, people buy, people consume. And that's what we do. We build a network of what? Consumers. Consumers. And that's the thing. And see, and that's always the I don't know what the word is, but the anomaly, is it? I don't know. The misunderstanding is what we're not, and then what we are. And so anyway, but it's just here's the thing I want to talk about though, and that is the fact that people do join our business sometimes with the intention to think that they could become wealthy without doing very little work, anything at all. So as long as you are not posting that on your page saying that you can do very little and still make a lot of money, as long as you're not doing that, you're fine. You're fine. And I would encourage everyone to always be that way. Again, you know me. I believe in selling the rain with the sunshine. I want to sell yeah, sure, I want to talk about the upside, but I definitely want to talk about the downside. I want to talk about the peaks, but I also want to talk about the valleys. And a lot of people in their prospecting, that's, it's just what they do. They only want to focus on the sunshine. Sell enough sunshine, get them to join. Okay, well, you can get them to join, but what's going to happen next month? Where are they going to be? Because remember, if your onboarding process is like a boot camp, think about a military boot camp in the United States. We have one of the toughest ones would be the Marines, right? But just imagine when somebody signed up to be in the military, in the Marines, and they took him to boot camp, and they took him to the beach, and said, man, this is it. This is boot camp. Here's your sandals. Here, we got some special swim trunks for you too. And by the way, here's a margarita. And they're going, man, this is awesome. I can't believe this. This is just what the recruiter told me it would be. And then the next day, they're on a flight to Afghanistan or Iraq, and bullets are flying everywhere, bombs are going off, and they're saying, wait a second. Where's the sand? Where's the ocean? Where's the margaritas? This is what my sponsor told me it was going to be. Hey, I'm out of this. I'm out. And that's usually what happens. So, anyway, I say that along with what I'm going to say right now. Can you be a spiritual person and pursue financial success? Can you do that? Do the two go together? And so you be the judge of that. I know that many of you are influenced by different people. You were brought up a certain way in your home, maybe in a spiritual atmosphere that believed and taught a certain way about money. And it could have been that the friends that you were around also had their opinions and all that. Or you could have been around people that really didn't have much. And so that was pretty much the way life was. How does that affect you? And how does that affect your performance if you choose to pursue network marketing as a profession and you really want to become successful? That's something that we have to think about. So the thing about it is, and by the way, the last thing I want to say is on people that join that, you hear people say this all the time, very few people make it. But they're repeating something that was told to them. Because the fact of the matter is, statistically, most people that join a network marketing company just join to use the product. They might have said they might engage in the business. Matter of fact, in the company that I'm involved in, you cannot join as a business builder. You cannot, or if you want to use the term distributor, you cannot. You have to join as a customer first. That's the first door. The only way that can change is by your activity. Your activity. Because most people are not going to start sponsoring. They're just going to use the product. What's good about that is that really closes the door on the argument that most people that join never make money. Well, they never entered that door, that business door, to make money. Now, it's open to them if they want it. And I'm sure your companies hopefully are that way too. I hope they are. But let's talk about you, and let's talk about you in the context of, your the people that you hang out with, your spiritual friends. Can you be a spiritual person and pursue financial success? Do the two go together? And whether you go to a mosque or you go to a synagogue, or you go to a church, or whatever you want to call this place of worship, what are your friends like? Do they believe that you can be a spiritual person and pursue financial success? So let me ask you this though, and by the way, you can mention it in your comments what you've been exposed to if you want. But let me ask you this though. When you think about money, what do you call it? What do you think it is? If you had a definition of it. I mean, if you're an American, you have dollars, right? Our currency is dollars, right? If you're in the Philippines, it's pesos. Different countries have different forms of currency. Even Bitcoin is considered a currency. I say that because you can buy things with it. And when you can buy something with it, I would say that's a currency. But let me just in my definition, I just say it's a resource. Money is just a resource. It's there. You can use it for different things. You can buy things with it. You can get medical help with it. You can purchase energy, utilities. You can purchase houses, cars. You can do things with it, right? It's a resource. That's exactly what it is. So, do spiritual people need resources? Do Muslims need resources? Do Christians, do Jews need resources? Or if you're not any of that, but you're a spiritual person, whatever that is, do you need resources? And I would say that of course you do. You would say, yes, of course. I mean, here's the thing. How people have been brought up in the United States, some of the churches, they've been taught that, they've been taught through the King James Bible. If some of you know what I'm talking about, it's like a 500-year-old translation. Nothing wrong with it. I've got one in my home. But there's a verse in there that Paul wrote, and this is how it's translated in that Bible, that money is the root of all evil. Money is the root of all evil. So for many years, it was perpetuated for generations. That's right. You don't want to be a person that's involved in too much money. Just get enough and that's it. On the other hand, translations, modern translations, because that's a 500-year-old translation, right? Modern translations here in the last, 50 years, translate it as the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. Aha. Because what people will do for it, right? There's some bad people out there, right? They love it so much they wouldn't mind killing people for it. So that's not good. That's not good, and that's a problem. So let me ask you this. Were there spiritual examples in the past, in history, that were a financial success? In other words, were there spiritual examples of rich people? Could we find any examples? Well, let's start with the first one. The first one being Abraham. Abraham. So if you're a Muslim out there, then you know, of course, because many Muslims look at Abraham in a very special way, in a good way, right? Well, in Genesis 13:2, I'm going to quote it because I wrote it down, that is. Genesis 13:2 says, Abraham was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. That's it. That says enough, right? He was very rich in livestock. Livestock was a major resource. Also silver, also gold. Even today, people collect it, right? It's considered a very important hedge right now. How about Job? In the book of Job in the Bible, how did he feel about money and success? Well, Job 1:3 says, quote it, he became the greatest of all people of the East. He was the greatest of all. You could say he was the Donald Trump of his time in that part of the world, in the East. East embraced a major part of the earth. But notice at the end of the book of Job, after he went through all his trials, some of you know that story, and he kept his integrity, what did God do? He didn't give him just more spirituality, okay? It says God doubled in Job 42:10, God doubled what he had before. He doubled what he had before. He was already the greatest man in the East. And he doubled that? You mean resources? Resources. Yes, resources. And then we have, what about Solomon? Here's what it says in 2 Chronicles 9:22. So King Solomon was greater than all other kings in the earth in riches. In riches. He was considered the wisest man, a very spiritual man. What about David? Because we're talking about Jews here, so if you're a Jewish person, Solomon was a Jewish person, right? What about David? He was a Jewish person. David donated $1.3 billion to have the temple built. That beautiful temple that Solomon actually built. Now we know why Solomon was so rich. He got his money from his father too. But can you imagine that with David? Now David could have built an incredible palace, like a Taj Mahal, something even much nicer than the Taj Mahal. David could have did that and said, how great I am. I am so awesome. I'm sure David had a nice place where he lived, but obviously, though he was rich, that wasn't the focus and the happiness of his life. Matter of fact, those were the instructions he gave to Solomon. He said, fear the true God and follow him. But if you leave him, he will leave you. Those were instructions he gave to Solomon. David was an incredible man, a spiritual man, but he still pursued financial success. And then we have Joseph too. And Joseph, when we think about that, when Egypt was a world power, it was the first world power in Bible history, he was the first economist. He foretold bad times coming, got to use resources, got to prepare. And he did that knowing that he had a few good years. Seven good years, if I remember correctly, to prepare for it. Prepared with resources. Resources are very important. But Joseph was the number 2 leader in the world at the time. Think about that. Next to Pharaoh, he was the most powerful man in the earth and wealthy. And was Joseph a spiritual man? He was incredibly spiritual. So, and of course, we got Christian examples too. And I'm not going to go into some of those, but there are many. And so here's the thing. What are some indications if you got a problem? with money, or you've been trained that way, or you just, yeah, it's great, I know. But I've seen, a lot of bad examples or heard things and okay. Okay, so here's some indications. Number one, approach avoidance could be an example. Approach avoidance, meaning that you love network marketing. You would love to be successful in network marketing. You just, because you have fun with it. You love going to conventions. You love the personal development side of it. How it's influencing you, how you're becoming better in many areas. But when it comes to really, making that commitment and doing it, you run from it. It's called an approach avoidance. It's just like, it's like the girl that wants to get married, and as soon as she meets the guy and she's excited, and then, you remember that movie, Runaway Bride? It's like that. When it's time to go to the altar and say the vows or whatever, then she runs, she disappears. Okay, and some people are like that in this business. So that could be an indication that you have a problem with money. So again, go back, and Ray, by the way, Ray Higdon talked about that today. I sent him a message and I told him I enjoyed his thoughts on it, about it's really true. He says, really, what good is it if you're on this earth and you're not contributing to others? That is, with your resources. Are you a giver or a taker? Or not giving at all? Wow. Look at what you're missing out on. And the Bible has a lot to say, by the way, of the importance of being a giver. Most important. There's a lot on that. The importance of being a giver. Matter of fact, if you want more success in your business, you better be a giver. I'm a big believer in that. Big believer. So approach avoidance, then examine why you feel the way you do, and try to identify what, go back to maybe your childhood, go back to maybe religiously how you were raised. And then look at it in the light of the Bible, or if you're a Muslim, the Quran, however, just look at it in the light of that. And I guarantee you're going to find plenty of examples, as I just showed, of people who were spiritual and wealthy. And then number two, another indication could be that you have a problem with financial success is sabotaging what you've already built. Sabotaging what you've already built. Because inside we cannot be comfortable with it, and then we become annoyed at the very success we're experiencing. And that would be the very people that are actually helping us to become successful. We could actually run them off. We could sabotage ourselves. And then how about, here's a third, we're broke despite how much money we make. Do you know that I know people who make over $1 million a year and they're broke? And they've been that way for decades. Yep. Some are friends of mine. I'm serious. I'm talking about in-network marketing though. Broke. They don't own their house and they don't own their cars. They just broke. That's a serious psychological problem with money. I'm going to tell you right now, that is so obvious. And so, not good. And that's not being responsible with resources either. It really isn't. Because you don't know that your company's going to be around next year. You don't know that. Nobody can predict that. Where would you be? These people I'm talking about are going to be homeless. Seriously. How's that possible? Because of what they do every month when they get paid. So that could be an indication, is if we're constantly broke despite how much money we make. You don't have to make $1 million a year if you're making just, I don't know, a few thousand, but I'm just saying. And again, I've said this before, the importance of taking your network marketing money and putting it in things that will grow for you. Now, I'm not a financial consultant, okay? So I'm not going to tell you, I'm just telling you that that's what I do. I'm reading my son. My son is funny. He put something out on YouTube, and I said, I don't know if I agree with that. And then, well, I'm not taking it down, Dad. Anyway, kids. So, okay, here's the fourth. We're apologizing to others even when they compliment us on success. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm be honest with you on this. I used to have a problem with that. I had a real problem with it. Because in my success, well, let me go back. I was in the sauna, so I'm dehydrated. But because of the fact that nothing had worked out previous to the company I joined 22 years ago, I just, nothing had worked out. I mean, I never experienced a level of success because some of the choices I made. When I made the right choice with the right company, I didn't know what it was like to feel successful, if you will. And so the thing is, man, I mean, it's really true. When people compliment me, I would say, well, that's because I have a good team. Yeah, you're so great, man. But yeah, I'm in a great company. Yeah. I'd always deflect it. I was never comfortable with it. Even, sometimes the way the company wants to honor their leaders, I'm like, I'm not really comfortable with this. I remember in Orlando, that would have been 2009, that convention. 2009, there was 10,000 people in that room, in that convention, and and I didn't know they were going to do this. Then they brought a horse and buggy carriage, and they were going to bring me to the stage in a horse and buggy carriage. I was like, oh, please, man, please, I'm just a guy. I really don't need this. It took me a while to finally realize what I was doing. I had to confront myself with it and say, look, you busted your butt. You helped a lot of people. You lived out of a suitcase for 5.5 years. You deserved it. Quit saying you don't deserve it. Quit trying to come up with excuses and tell people they're wrong. Just be humble about it and say thank you. Thank you. Now shut your mouth, Jeff. Thank you. Now shut your mouth, Jeff. Don't apologize for it. So that was the thing, for years I was that way. And then I finally realized what I was doing. So then to get the right mindset to some of these beliefs, then we can change our beliefs. We can change, that's what I did. Number one, see money not as a master, but as an incredible servant. See it as an incredible servant for what it is. Resources can do incredible things. I can say that without giving you any specifics. I've spent a lifetime in the last 2 decades helping a lot of people that could not help themselves. Even during the pandemic, I had many reach out to me. So the thing about it is, when you're broke, you can't do that. But when you know that you're doing the very thing that our Creator is, that He wants to see in us, that we can do that, it's a good thing. And we should do the thing He wants us to do. To intentionally stay in a situation where we have no resources and no way to help others, we're missing out on one of the greatest privileges. So then second is, regarding this, when it comes to mindset, is when it comes to money and financial success, see it as a resource that you need to grow. You need to invest in it. For example, again, I teach this with the other leaders, and again, I'm not a financial consultant, that, you can invest in real estate. You can, like vacation rental property, the stock market. How about Bitcoin right now? Oh my gosh, is it on a grow and go? I was talking to one of my top leaders in the Dominican Republic today, and I was talking to him about the numbers, and because he's never paid attention to Bitcoin, and I said, you might want to pay attention to it. And so again, many leaders want to increase their income. There's other ways to do it. You can start with the income that you make in your network marketing business. Again, it's a great servant if you put it to use. And again, I'm saying make wise decisions, but it's pretty obvious there are some things working very well if you pay attention to it. And that's what I started doing. So, going back to, and really we go back to even a verse in Ecclesiastes 7:12. I took a note on it. It says money is a protection. That's it. Money is a protection. So it protects your family. It gives your family the resources it needs to live and have and enjoy life. It gives you the time freedom to be with your family and also raise your children the way they should be raised today, not the way they're telling us to raise them now. I don't know. I'm a big believer in homeschool now. But you can do that and have that time with the family. Make sure that you're giving that spiritual nurturing that they need. And also teach them.
A two-part question about
Oh my gosh, why did that do that? I don't know why YouTube will just turn on my phone. Okay. Stop doing that. Anyway. So teach children to be entrepreneurs. Teach them the importance of what money is. It doesn't grow on trees, as my mother said. Teach them how they can earn it. And again, see it as freedom. Freedom. If you don't have to trade time for money, then that's a good thing. Then you got time for them. So here's some activity steps. Activity steps that you can do. You can talk to your friends. I'm talking about your friends who you might go to church with, or a mosque with, or a synagogue with, or just you hang with, your spiritual friends, okay? They're not helping themselves by staying broke. You need to be the good influence. Don't let them influence you. Remember, proximity is everything. That's what Tony Robbins taught me. That's right. It's everything. If you get around the right people, the right mentors, you can have the right life. You get around the wrong people, you're going to have the wrong life. You don't want that. So help them understand being broke, and being broke means after they've paid the bills, they don't have any money saved. Not smart. What happens when hard times come? Then what are they going to do? It's going to be a bad day. You don't want a bad day. And then help your spiritual friends to understand it's, you can pursue or have financial freedom, and then that means time freedom, freedom to pursue spiritual goals, care for your family. Most important. Number 3, help them to see it as a servant. When it's kept in check, it's great. So they don't miss out on spiritual refreshment, raising their children to be spiritual people. In other words, you're finding a life of balance. It's all about a life of balance. And then you're able to take them places, go places, do things with them. And really just do the very thing of, in the past, a lot of people haven't been able to do. Today I'll mention this woman that was in Congress complaining about network marketing. Can you believe that? Truth in Advertising, Tina.org. Oh man, they hate us. But she was saying that people in MLM are taking advantage of the pandemic. Can you believe that? No, what we're trying to do is look what happened in our country and also around the world. Companies shut their door, people going home, and then we hear on the news constantly, you need to find a way to work from home. Even Donald Trump said, you need to find a way to work from home. And then networkers want to teach people how to work from home. They're saying, you're taking advantage of the pandemic. Sick people. Anyway, so help your friends to understand that they could take advantage of network marketing and they can work from home and have the time freedom they want to be with their family. And then number 4 on the checklist, activity steps, is remember the average of the 5 people you hang around with are going to determine your net worth. That's right. If the 5 people you hang around with most are all broke people, most likely that's the direction you're going. Or do you want to be around people? We're not talking about greedy people. We're talking about people that are givers. They contribute. They do things for others, for charities. I mean, 2 events that I've been at with Ray Higdon at the Rank Makers event, we raised money for the March of Dimes, a lot of money. And so had we not had that event, had these not been network marketers giving out of their heart, just giving to such a worthy cause, I mean, if they didn't have the resources, they wouldn't be able to do it. And they're taking advantage of the pandemic. I really want to have a conversation with that woman. I really do. Anyway, and when I talk about be careful about the friends that are around you, I remember when we used to have parties here. The pandemic did change that. Anyway, but I'd have a lot of friends over and people in the community here and all that. But one man that went to our church, a friend reached out to me, called me. He said, he's complaining about your wife's piano to a lot of people. And I said, really? He said, yeah. She has a Steinway Model D. Okay? It cost $170,000. Yes, it did. That's what they cost. So when I got her a piano, I got her a piano. Okay? Same kind of piano Billy Joel uses, Elton John, Diana Krall, Anyway, it's an incredible instrument. Now, she plays it and my 2 sons play it. They use it every day. I'm serious. When I say every day, every day. But anyway, he was going around saying, do you know you could buy a house for what he paid for that piano? I never even told him how much the piano was. He knew because he was a musician. He knew the value of that instrument. Okay? Anyway, so one day, somebody told him, said, yeah, Jeff heard, somebody told Jeff that you were doing, then he calls me on the phone. Oh, I really want to say I'm really sorry. I'm talking about you. I shouldn't have been doing that. And, I shouldn't. I said, listen, it's fine. It's okay. It's just that I had the resources. I had the money. I wanted to buy my wife something special. She wanted a new piano. The old piano, the keys were stuck. The pedals didn't work. The rods were coming off when she used the pedals. And I thought that was a good piano when I bought it. Okay, that tells you how much I know about pianos. It was a beautiful looking antique. As a matter of fact, I had an old man came in. He works for Steinway. And I said, and he told me, he said, well, after he tried to work with it, he said, you got to make up your mind. He said, how much does she play a piano? How often? I said, every day. Well, he said, well, this is the wrong piano for her. You got to make up your mind whether you want an antique or do you want a musical instrument. And I said, okay. So I went and got the piano. Anyway, but I'm just saying, but sometimes you've got to be careful again. I mean, things like that will happen. There's going to be envy. There's going to be jealousy with some people in your community. Even when you go out of your way to open your house and show generosity and all that, there will be all of that. Yeah, and they're in politics too, right? I mean, it's amazing all these politicians that want to demonize rich people, but when you look at their life, all their expenses, they can write off everything that they do, their meals, their lunches, everything, their travel and all that to the taxpayers. And you look at their assets, they have multiple homes, they have a good life, but they have a problem if you make money. That's incredible, just incredible. Well, anyway, that's something that, people have got to work out. But anyway, it's been fun spending time with you. Wanted to share this with you that you can be a spiritual person and pursue financial success. It's not your master, it's your servant. And you can use it in ways to help a lot of people. You help your family, you help your community, you help just people in general. And if you do that, the spiritual laws that God put in place are going to only increase what you're doing. Your business is going to get better. I saw it happen. I've seen it happen with me in my lifetime. And so, anyway, it's been fun. Watch who you hang with, okay? Proximity, like Tony Robbins says, is everything. So thanks for jumping on tonight. And I'll put out some value tomorrow. And then Friday's Q&A. If you want to do a Q&A, we'll do a Q&A. I appreciate you getting on. Everyone, have a great evening. Take care.